fun part about first getting into the sport was that it actually was a sister who had a broken collarbone playing tackle football in the backyard. Back then you played tackle football, none of this touch stuff, right? So you played tackle football, and she broke her collarbone, and I was 5 and she was 7, and the exercise to do would be swimming. And I just went along, and then all of a sudden I got thrown in the pool, and then all of a sudden I swam, and all of a sudden we enjoyed it. So it was really kind of cool. So we joined the local summer league. Years ago when I first started, it was about what you were doing. You know, we're going to go 15 100s today. We're going to do them all backstroke. Ready, go. And that was it. You know, and then they say, well, what interval? And you go 130. Okay. And then as the years progressed, it was maybe we're going 15 100s backstroke again. Every third one's going to be kick, so you have your legs at the end of the race, and every sixth one is going to be working your underwaters. So it became the what. It went from the what to the what and the how. And the what really is science, and the how is art. So coaching went from just, I think, a little bit of science to science and art. And now it's more the why. We need to connect with the athletes so they understand why they're doing what they're doing.
You know, it's tough to say. It's something now coming back as the head coach that I've really struggled with. George just has a way of connecting with people that's unexplainable. I don't know what it is. The way that he connects with the individuals, he gets that buy-in, and the lesson ends up resonating. You could have someone who's a way better teacher or instructor or have a way better message, but if they don't resonate with the athlete on an individual basis, then the message and the lesson is lost. It's pointless. I think it's just in George's nature that that's kind of who he is, the connector.
I saw this fantastic talk about how important the first 30 seconds is in any conversation. If you're dealing with a confrontation or a conversation, the first 30 seconds of that either makes or breaks how the whole issue goes. And I can tell you, the hardest times for me is when I didn't value the first 30 seconds. Sometimes it's really hard. You're tired as a coach. The athletes are tired. But if we just take time to value that first 30 seconds.
Down the road, I guess we'll find out in future conversations with people if they look back fondly on their memories and on their experience. So that's much more of a retrospective thing, knowing if we manage their expectations.
That's the biggest challenge that a coach has, is to truly be themselves and still have an impact on the whole team. I feel strongly to this day that not everybody who swam here loved Hopkins swimming. But I can be true to myself every night I go to bed, that I gave Hopkins swimming everything I had in terms of what I believed in.
Obviously, that connection with my coaches has been very important to me, and that's why I'm a coach, is because that connection is very important. Everyone deserves to have, coaches that help them and believe in them and want them to succeed, and they can come back to for support. And that's a role that I want to have because it's been so important to me. So these are going to sound contradictory, but they're really not. First is dive in and get to work. Just get in and get to work. Just start coaching, start doing it. And then the second one, success is like a butterfly. And the more you chase it and try and catch it, the more it's going to elude you. But if you just sit down, do your job, it's going to land on your shoulder eventually. That's my big thing to any coach. Wherever you are, just start kicking butt. Just dive in and start doing it. And good things will happen, and they'll come your way. You'll have opportunities.
Probably the most unique thing about coaching at the college level is that when the athletes are recruited and come to school, they are used to a program that might be different than the one they're heading into. I think if I had to do some things over, the first meeting we would have had would be to just talk about change. Just talk about that it's going to be different. Just talk about we're your coaches now. You may not feel that until a certain point in time during the season. But at that point where you feel that, where we're your coaches and your previous coach is no longer your coach, that's when you'll just take off and shoot through the roof.
Honestly, I didn't swim very many practices for George. Like, he didn't actually coach my group very frequently. It was often the assistant coach that coached me, and my high school coach, John Weitz, was hired as the assistant coach for my junior and senior year. But George was always the rock. George was always my coach. There was never a question. So while he didn't run my practices a lot, I knew that he was kind of the, for a way of thinking, like the moral compass of the program.
Why don't we play swimming? We play every sport. We play the piano. We play football. We play the guitar. We play cards. We play when we recreate. But swimming is you just swim, or running is you just run. So as the years developed, I started thinking, how can we do that? How can we be more effective in making that work to play? And so we would, as you remember, we'd do some acclimation warm-ups where you do dolphin dives off the bottom or flip turns or jump in, you know, streamline back up. Almost turn the pool into like a summer pool where you have fun as a kid. Because really the two things that I saw that where people were getting better was their relationship with coming to practice and their relationship with feedback. So what if we take the first 30 seconds again? The first 30 seconds, somebody has a smile on their face and they're playing in the pool. Now we're tying everything together. You know? And so playing swimming is important. There's no greater thrill for me than to see Scott as the guy running the show right now. And he has told me a few times that the feeling's mutual, that he loves being here and we love our relationship with one another.
George said that he was retiring, and I never really thought much of it until he really asked me to engage in the process. So I did. I engaged, and I came and, you know, I put my foot on this campus, and 1 second into it, I knew I wanted to be back here. Meeting the team and seeing the competitive fire in the team, it's something that I think that we take for granted here, that a lot of places don't have. And what separates Hopkins from other places is it's a complete testament to the culture that George has created, is that, you know, this is a place where you can't settle. Like, you don't settle for great in academics and terrible in swimming, or vice versa. Other schools are going to say, great in athletics and your academics don't matter. Even great academic institutions are making decisions that don't fall in line with kind of the philosophy that, you know, we're going to be great at everything. We're going to be the very best we can be at everything we do. And I think that's something that's just essentially Hopkins, but it's also essentially Hopkins swimming.
I totally agree. I mean, the term we used to use is just be a sponge. If there was a clinic going on, I'd go to the clinic. If there was a book that I needed to read, I'd try to read the book. And I think eventually, and where Scott's going with this a little bit, you learn this from this coach, you learn that from that coach, but you still need to be yourself. So I think, to cut to the chase, the thing I would recommend mostly to the younger coaches is to be themselves, but to thrive on knowing that the coaching world in swimming is so full of people that share, that you can really work together towards getting better. You wake up each day and you basically make a decision. Are you going to complain or are you going to contribute? And you got two choices. And so if you're constantly complaining about something, pretty soon you turn a lot of other people off. You're not helping anybody. But if you contribute, even in a way where nobody knows that you're contributing, but you're helping someone at some point in time, other than yourself, thinking outside of yourself, then I think you can have a positive outlook on just about anything. Wake up every day and do your best. Wake up each day and do your best. Then you're freed up. You're freed up to move on from that and take care of life. You know, you wake up, you go to practice, you absolutely do your best. You don't have anything to worry about.